Good morning. Welcome, if you're joining me this morning, to the next round, so round 4 of Stamp and Chat. Just while anybody's hopping on, I'm going to check I'm in the right place and share it over to my group. So just bear with me a tick. So it's Tuesday, it's the 15th of December today. Wishing Irene a very happy birthday. Right, just sharing. If you're popping in, do say hello. Come and say hello. Come and join in the chat if you like, even if you're not stamping live with me. Okay. Let's just go large and then I can hopefully see comments. Morning, Ellie. How are you? What are you up to? Are you in that craft cabin this morning? Okay. Are you crafting or are you doing the housework? I can see my shadows when I move. I've got lights in different directions in here. I'd like to get it sorted. I maybe need another light on my desk so that we can stop, because there's a light behind me. There's light coming in from the side, light coming in from the front. Okay, so if you're joining me today, I am live on Facebook. You could be joining me on the replay via YouTube. We are on the 4th round of Stamp and Chat. I honestly do not know where the weeks are going. It's December, it's almost Christmas. I'm starting to feel slightly disorganised. We did manage to get our tree at the weekend. We headed out on Saturday, and the place that we normally get one from, which is quite local, they didn't have any large ones left, and we needed quite a large one. So we had to go on a bit of a tree hunt, and maybe I'm a bit fussy. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit fussy, but we couldn't find one. So we had to go back out on Sunday in the pouring rain. It wasn't fun. It really wasn't fun. But anyway, we did manage to get one, and it's in the house. We've got some lights on it, but that's as far as we've got. So, yeah. So, Ellie, you're spreading over the dining room. You're writing your Christmas cards. Oh, I really need to get mine done. I really need to sort out all my cards over here from the studio and think about making some special ones for family as well. So something I really need to do. But obviously this evening I've got a live Zoom video with my team. We're playing bingo, which is going to be really exciting, lots of fun. And I've got a couple of other things I need to tie up as regards planning, ready for next year, that I really need to get the info out to you all. So once I've done that, I feel that I can just not sit back, but just take a bit of time out and feel like I can do, you know, a bit towards Christmas. So I've got most of my shopping done, which is a good thing. It's just mainly the cards that I really need to get out, because I think last day posting for second class, I think it's the 18th, which would be the end of this week. So yeah, I need to get myself into gear. Okay, so this round of Stamp and Chat, we're using the Coming Home stamps that were from the Autumn Winter Mini. So I call it the Autumn Winter, we're not supposed to. I'm just grabbing it. It's actually the August to December Mini. Now, obviously, last week we had, literally a week ago, I don't know where the week has gone, we had the retired list go live from that mini catalogue. And sadly, this one is in there, but I've checked this morning, it's still available to purchase, and the dies are still available as well. Not that you need the dies, but there's some nice edgelit dies in there. And that it's also available on the bundle, where you save 10% if you buy them both together. So that's really good. Just wondered if I might zoom in just a little bit, because I don't know if it's going to let me do it. Won't let me do it. The view on my phone is different to what I'm seeing on my screen, but I think we might be okay. We'll leave it for now and we'll see how we go. Yep, so this is sadly retiring. Now, when you look at it, straight away, you think Christmas. Because you can see a Christmas style tree, we can see like snowflakes, there's a wreath for the door. But apart from that, I think the rest of it is quite general, could be used for lots of different occasions, specifically new home cards. And everybody seems to be moving. In the last few months, everybody seems to be uprooting and moving house. So I think this is a fabulous set. And the things I've got planned with it, I'm really excited to share with you as the weeks go by. Now, there are I've got designed 5 cards with this. I may, the last week, do two lives in 1 week so that we can get ready for the next Stamp and Chat, which is going to be using brand new products from the January to June mini catalogue, which I will share some samples with you when I've done this. Okay, so without further ado, if you're stamping with me live, I'm not sure if anybody is this morning, as I say every week, but if you are, this is the card we are going to be making. So I've designed it as a new home card. So those who are taking part with this online with me, they received the stamp set and then each of these colours. So just Jade, Pool Party and Crumb Cake, only in the light version. Oh, thanks Ellie for the love hearts. I did also offer the option to add on the dark blends with it, but because I didn't want to include light and dark combos for each colour, because it did make it quite an expensive round of Stamp and Chat, and I try to sort of keep it below £40, but again, that's down to the individual, and I know some of you have purchased the dies that go with this as well. I'm going to see whether I can just zoom. Okay, that was maybe a bit much. I'll let it catch up and see. Just see how close that is. I just want to be a little bit closer. Bit of a wobble there. Oops, yep, I can see with the delay. It's just caught up. Okay, so yeah, this is the card we're doing. I've designed it as a new home card. And this tree here, I wanted a tree, but I didn't want to use this one because I just felt it was too festive. So I wanted this tree, but I wanted some leaves on it. And then I thought, well, what about the smoke that comes out of the chimney? Could we turn that into some kind of leaf? So that was what I did. I had a play and I just created this tree. My tree that I do today will probably be totally different. And I just coloured it in randomly with the blends. Now, I have coloured in literally just with the light blends. To get a better performance from the pens, you do need the dark and the light together, which is why they're sold as a pair, because they're designed to work together. So you start with light, add the dark, and then you blend again with the light. I'll just bring in a couple of trees that I did as well. I was playing around because I didn't know whether to colour the whole tree, just do some swirls in it, or literally just do the outside of it. So that's entirely up to you what you do with your tree when we get to that point. So those are there just to show you. Right, let's move that to one side for the moment and take out the stamps that we need. You will need a black Momento ink pad for this because we are using the blends. So we want this tree. That's a house. It's not a tree, Kerry. Well, at least I got the day right today. Last week I said it was Friday. It totally wasn't. So let's just mount these two up. Got something on that block. Blocks need a really good clean again. Nice soapy water and a good rinse off. Will do them the world of good. So I have my tree branches, leaves, which is really the smoke coming out of the chimney, and this tree trunk, and I think that's it. The other thing you will need is a greeting. Let me just show you. I've used a really small greeting here, but if you have something that says, you know, Happy New Home or congratulations on your new home, then that would be perfect. But I do think you could use this just for a general card. I think it would just make a great masculine card as too, and we always struggle with those. But I've used this new upcoming stamp set called Many Messages, and I've used the congratulations, which is here. Now they look quite small on here. They're actually only shown at 80%. And when you purchase this, it comes as one complete stamp, okay? So it's one big piece of red rubber with all of these images on. But I didn't want that. So I don't know whether I did the right thing, but I cut mine individually. Now they do all need trimming. I've not used all of these. They need a good trim around the edge to take off all the excess rubber. Otherwise, when you stamp, you get lines everywhere. So I do need to do that, but just hasn't been the time to sit and go through that just yet. So this is a really fabulous stamp set. It's £20, coming in the new January to June catalogue, and I'll just quickly show you, put it on my mat here. This is the die that goes with it. How fabulous is that? Absolutely amazing. I am going to be using it. Well, no, I'm not today, actually. I will probably be using it in the future rounds of these, but it's such an amazing set. And it kind of, obviously they're different sizes, but you can see this die goes with this wording. This one goes with this one. That little high there goes with that one there. But as a die on its own, absolutely amazing. You could just run that through your stamp and cut emboss machine and look at all those little labels you've got ready to add your greeting to. Okay, right, let's turn over and have a clean sheet. So you will need your black Memento ink, and we're going to start by stamping our two houses. Now this one here I'm going to die cut, and I'll show you the dies in a moment. And this stamp here, these are your pieces from your card number 1. So week number 1 is the bag you need to pull out, and you're looking for this piece here, which is that one there, that we're going to stamp that house onto. And I've actually stamped it off. So, and I'm going to have to sit down today as well. Normally I'm standing when I'm crafting with you live, just because I find it easier. I can look down into my phone, but because I've got to do some colouring in, I'm going to have to sit. So I'm going to stand for a moment, do my stamping bits. Now this little house here, I've actually stamped it off just so that it almost appears slightly basic grey. So it's kind of in the distance. Let me just make sure I'm in shot, because like I say, what I'm seeing on my phone, I dunked my finger in it then, is not what I'm seeing on my Mac. So I'm just going to stamp this one off, and then with the second generation, I'm going to pop this house, move one's hair out of the way, just overhanging off of the edge like that. Let's move this way a little bit. Okay, and so that's our layer that's going down onto our card. So pop that back over with your pile, and then take some scrap Whisper White, and we're going to ink up this one. We're not stamping this off. Let me get it in that way. And we're going to cut this one out. Now, I find when I'm colouring with blends, I find it best to cut it out first, because if for any reason it should move in the cutting machine, I'd be a bit disappointed if I spent 5-10 minutes colouring it in and then realised that I'd chopped half the chimney off. So I would always recommend cut first before you colour. If you don't have the dies, you can fussy cut around this. It's really easy to trim around. Let me bring you in the dies. Don't know if they'll go in the whole shot. Let's see, move you out of the way. So these are the dies. Let me check what they're called. In fact, they are the Home Together dies. And as I've said, they are still available to purchase individually, or you can buy them as a bundle. So I've been using this a lot on this edge. We've even got a little die there that cuts out the tree and a car. This also coordinates with the paper. I am not sure if the paper is still available. I would have said not. I would have thought that would have gone really quickly. But it's such a fabulous set that's so usable all throughout the year. Don't think of it just for Christmas. So I need this die here, and let's bring in, Alfie's having a shake. Let's bring in the baby boss or the mini boss, whatever we are liking to call it. Move the stamps out of the way. I am in love with this little machine. Now, you can see better if I do it that way, but it's harder for me to turn because it's going to move a bit. So I'm hoping, let's trim this off. So we don't need to run all of that through. I'm hoping that you have seen information about my giveaway for December. Let's get a bit of tape and tape that down. So if you place a £30 order with me this month, £30 or more, online with me via my shop, and you use my December host code, I am putting your name into a giveaway to receive one of these gorgeous little machines for free. Right, I'm back to front now, and I need to push and turn at the same time. So let's just make sure that's in. Bit of a wobble as we run through, and a crunk and a creak. It's not ideal because I'm on my paper and it's moving my grid sheet about. I'm going to move that to one side. It's so cute and portable. I love it. It's just handy to have on your desk. That's moved everything around now. But it's so easy because you just got small plates to run through. Let's just pull that off carefully. Like that. We don't need that for a moment. Okay, just bring my mat back in. And what else do we need to do? Let's have a look. Let's do the tree. So bring your scrap piece back in, pop your little house to one side, and we'll do the stamping. And then we can colour. Right, are we still straight? It looks like I'm crooked where I am. I may have to have a couple of goes at this, and you may too, to get it right, but we'll start. I'm going to stand back up for a moment. We will have to fussy cut this one. So we'll start just with the trunk, like this. And then you need to mount this little, if you haven't already, this smoke that should be coming out of your chimney, which I think is really cute. And we're just going to kind of create a line around the edge of this tree trunk to make it appear as it was the edge of the tree. Now, I don't know where I started before, but I'm going to start at the top. And I can't remember whether I stamped off, but we'll just go with this. And put a one over here. So when you think about a tree, it's not like completely round. It goes sort of in and out. And then we'll have one down here. And I think we'll squeeze one in there. And then I'm just going to, I think, add one in there like that. Stamp one off and just add one in there like that. Don't know if this is good as my original, but as I've said, have a little play. Try a couple and see how you get on. What else do we need to stamp? I'm not going to stamp anything else because all we've got to do is the greeting, and we'll do that after. So let's do a bit of colouring. Now, when you're using our blends, you need to bear in mind that when you're colouring onto our Whisper White, it does go through to the other side. So if you've got something, if you want to protect your grid paper underneath, then maybe put your mat underneath for colouring on. I'm going to colour straight down onto here, and I like to use, let's do the tree first. I like to use the bullet tip. So they have a bullet tip, but they also have this lovely brush tip, which is great for colouring in intricate parts. And the one thing I will say, when you are popping your lid on, make sure that it's straight and you're not going at an angle like this, because your nib of your pen will get caught in the lid and it could get pushed in. So always keep your lids on, make sure they're secure, but be careful when you're popping your lids back on. So I've got the Just Jade light, and I'm literally just going to go around the edge. I love the noise that these make, like this, to draw, just to kind of draw the outline of my tree. Now, I am no colouring expert by any means, so I'm literally going to colour this in. You could be a really great expert with your blends. If you've got the dark and the light, you can play about. Alfie's having a wander now, can you hear him? You can have a play about at blending to get some different shades and tones to make your tree look a bit more 3D. Hoping this isn't wobbling the table. I can see my light moving. Okay, so you could at this point, if you've got the darker one, add some darker, you know, around the trunk where you would imagine it maybe to be a bit darker. And you can achieve with the light, if you let it dry and go back in, you can achieve a slightly different tone, but it doesn't really work. It doesn't work very well. You do need both if you're what I call like professional colouring. I think I need a little bit more down there like that. So I'm just going to colour in a bit on the centre. So as I've said, oh, I've just taken the wrong end off. I'm not the world's best colourer, but the pens, they're adult felt pens, and they're just great. They do work really well, and we have them in lots and lots of different colours. They come as a pair generally like this, so a light version and a darker version of whatever colour. And they're £8.50, so they're really good to collect and build on. You will get a lot of use out of them. So that's our tree. Let's colour in. I'm just going to show you the back. Can you see how it just comes through slightly? How are you getting on with those cards, Ellie? Let's start with the roof. Okay, so I'm just going to take the crumb cake. You love your blends. I know. I'm gradually building up my stock of them because I had the whole range when we had them before. So I'm just literally colouring in the roof. So I had the whole range before, and then when they brought out the new ones, I bought a few, and then now usually every time I place an order, I add another colour to my collection. And it is worth mentioning that these are like felt tip pens. They don't last forever. They're going to run out like every ordinary pen will run out. I'm just going back in. Can you see I'm just going back in to add a bit of shadow? Because I'm using just the one colour, for those of you that only have a light version, because obviously in our last catalogue these blends were available to buy individually, and I know a lot of my customers bought individual ones, didn't buy the pairs because they wanted to experiment with colours. So there, just finishing off, just going back in. If you've got the dark version, you can go in with the dark version here, then come back in with the light version and blend them together, and it does work really, really well. They're lovely. So you have to think about where your shadows might be. I'm not very good at that. I'm not an artist, but I think the pens do help. They help us to create something that looks great. Right, I think my pool party is slightly running out. I've obviously used it a lot, so I'm going to quickly, and you don't need to be too intricate and fussy. It is running a little low. So if you were using just ordinary markers, you'd get lots of lines when you are colouring. I do think I've got a new set of these, of the pool party. Got a job to see what I'm doing. I'm sat about, well, it feels like I'm sat about 3 foot away from my project. And I'm just going to go back under the roof, just to make it a little darker. I would recommend that you buy, well obviously now you can only buy the pairs. As I've said, that's why they're sold as a pair, for a reason. We'll just put a bit of shading. I mean, who doesn't love a bit of colouring in? Morning, Jess. How are you doing? Nice of you to join us. Watching me doing a bit of therapeutic colouring in this morning. I mean, who doesn't love colouring in? It's something I don't do. I'll be honest, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't take a lot of time out for me. I honestly don't. I feel like there's always something to do. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. There's always something to do. And I think we're going to have a just Jade door. So we'll go just around the outside to start with. And I hope you can see what I'm doing, that my hand's not in the way. Ellie, I caught track. I can't colour and look at comments. I'm not that good, I'm afraid. Ellie, you said you're having a nice bit of peace and quiet to write your cards. Yeah. Do you know, when I'm writing cards, I don't need any distractions. I just need peace and quiet to be able to make sure that I'm not making any spelling mistakes. You know, I like to think that I can multitask, but my brain at the moment is mush. It's mush. Jess, you're good. That's good to hear. You're working but wanted something on. Yeah, I do all the time. When I'm working, I'm always listening to, I put YouTube on. I'm not really watching, but I'm listening, and I enjoy that. So yeah, colouring's a really great way to unwind from being busy. It truly is. It's, you know, it's a good bit of creative therapy, and what better way than using Stampin' Up products with it as well. So my little house is coloured, and I've gone just around the door, and I went heavier around the outside and then left the middle part of the door. I didn't colour it in as heavy, so it kind of gives it a bit of depth. So, and I have kind of achieved that just with one. Let's cut out this tree. Okay, I don't normally sit, as I was saying at the beginning, I normally stand. I'm going to have to stand to cut. That's really bad, isn't it? But otherwise I'm leaning it and you won't be able to see. So let's just trim around our tree. My tree turned out quite large. Hoping it's going to fit on my card. I did come up with this idea myself. I didn't actually see it anywhere else. I was quite pleased with myself for creating this. I am also using on, I don't know which, Alfie, you are rocking the table while you scratch. Where was I? Yes, this little image here. I'm using this on one of the future cards. I'm not sure which week it is, but we're doing something else with that. Not a tree, but we're creating something else with it, which is quite fun. A fun way of using it. Okay, let's straighten ourselves up a bit. What do we need to do now? Let's bring in some pieces for our card and see where we're at. So the large Whisper White piece you had, obviously you had a base piece that is scrawled down the middle, and then another piece which is your insert, so they can stay to one side. And then you've got a layer of crumb cake. Crumb cake is one of my most favourite colours. I was going to say it's not a colour, but of course it's a colour, but it just goes with absolutely everything. I love it. And if I'm using, you know, I'm a subtles girl at heart, so if I'm using brighter colours, I always feel that if I'm adding a bit of crumb cake in, it kind of tones it down and brings it down to earth for me. So you've got two pieces of DSP. This one is from that beautiful classic Christmas set, the 6x6 pack that I've been showing you every week for I don't know how many weeks. This will only be available, guys, until the 4th of January. So it's like a limited edition product that came with the Curvy Celebrations offerings. So if you need this paper in your life, you need to order it very soon. And as I've mentioned before, it's not just for Christmas. There's some really great designs there. This piece here, I'm going to grab my pack, is from our In Colour pack, and this is the 2020-22. So these are our most recent colours of In Colours. So they're just so usable. You can see I've got lots of chopped bits. It's a bit of random Forever Greenery paper in there, but really good patterns, really usable in our 5 In Colours. So that's just a strip of that one there, the Just Jade. So let us start with a bit of sticking as we've got all these pieces out and about. So we'll pop a bit of Tombow on the back of here. And this one is going right down at the bottom of the crumb cake layer. And it's at this point, before you stick this down, you make sure that I have cut it to the right length. So if you've got anything overhanging, now is the time to trim it. Just checking on my card how high up this one is going. I think it's probably going to kind of just sit above that bit of DSP like that, and it's going flat straight down onto our card. I'm not going to stick it for a moment. I also die cut you, this is a stitched circle from the Stitched Shapes dies. Oops, sorry, knocked the camera then. Use these all the time, and I'm just going to lay this down because I need to make sure it can overhang a slight bit. I need to make sure that I've got it in the right place. So I think we'll just hold that there for a moment. And then basically, our house is going to go here. But first of all, let me bring the card back in so you can see where I am. We need to die cut this bank of ground for one of it. It's not, it could have maybe been in a green, but I was a bit concerned there was a lot of green going on already. So it's not designed to look Christmassy at all. And this is from the Curvy die set. Let me bring that in and show you, because this is available at the moment. I've used this so much. It is carrying over. It's in the new mini catalogue coming in January. So I'm just going to use this lovely dotty edge and just cut. Just put that to one side. And I'm going to use my big machine to do this. And let's think. So die cutting edge is at the top. And I want it to be roughly, I'm going to lay it on roughly in the middle. Obviously, if you've purchased the kit, I've already die cut this for you. So I'm just going to grab a bit of tape and run this through my big machine quickly. Make sure I've got it in the right place. I know you can't hear me very well. With this new phone, obviously I'm not using an external microphone anymore. And when I replayed last week's live, I did realise that when I turn around you cannot hear me that well. So I'm going to replay this one today, and I may consider plugging it back in for my lives. So I've cut this one slightly different, but it doesn't matter, because we're going to lay that down there like this. Our house is going to go here. Our tree is going to go somewhere over here. Oh, sticking to me. And then this piece of lovely DSP is going to be raised and stick over here. So pull all of these off for a moment. You've got your spotty piece down. Next, let's stick this layer. You can hear okay. Thanks, Jess. Yeah, I just found last week when I was turning around and die cutting that it was a bit muffled. Yet when I've got my external microphone, or when I had it plugged into my old phone, it seemed to still be quite good sound quality, even though I had my back to you. So something I might consider, getting a different microphone for the future. So next, shall I stick this onto my card? Let's pop this layer on and then we'll stick this down onto our base. I think, just having a peek, I think that one's going to go there just like that, and I'm going to overhang that down at the bottom. So I could die cut, obviously, on camera for you, but I'm really concerned about the wobble it creates. I don't want to give you all like motion sickness. Okay, oh, I love the stitched edges on these. Okay, so now let's pop on this layer here, and it's literally going to go above here like this, and I'm going to pop dimensionals under here. So I've got some mini ones. Losing all my nails at the moment. I went through a few months of having really good nails, and I was chatting about this the other week. But at the moment, they're brittle. If I just catch one, it just breaks. Shears off. A bit like my teeth. Not good. Okay, just taking the backs off of these. And we're going to lay this one just to hide the bottom of that circle as straight as possible. So we don't want it, just going to move it in a bit, because I have cut this piece exactly the width I need. I think at this point, before I add any more layers, we should pop it onto our card base. So let's just fold this in half. Take your bone folder. So it's a bit strange, I've only got one live today, because the last round I offered a Christmas and a non-Christmas version. So I was doing kind of back-to-back lives. But today I've just got one. So I might have to go live again in the week. So we're just going to pop this layer. Don't know if anybody is stamping live, whether you can keep up with me. Of course, if you're on the replay, you can pause if you're not keeping up. I do try and chat. I mean, that's why it's called Stamp and Chat. Do try and chat a bit and go at a slower pace, just to give people an opportunity to catch up. Okay. Take your little house that you've coloured in. Now he's going to go here, like this. So I need to pop dimensionals just under this top part, because this bottom is already raised up. So a couple of dimensionals. I'm getting to the end of these. And I don't think I've got another pack of minis. And that is a dilemma, because I've grown to love the mini version of these dimensionals. I've got large ones. And I also need to stock up on Tombow as well. So I'm feeling another pre-order coming on, and maybe adding some new sneak peek products into my basket as well. Okay, take your tree and we're just going to slide it down. So I want to go over a bit more. Let's just lift that one back up, and I think I'm going to tuck it under a bit more. I'm going to give this a bit of a curl. Make it look like it's alive. I don't think this is as good as my other tree. Let me just show you what one of my others looked like. So that was like my part coloured in, just to create the edge. Does it really look like a tree as much though? That was my thought. That was why I wanted to colour in. And I think just about there, just hanging over. And now I've placed it, I'm just going to pop a little bit of Tombow underneath. Make sure it's straight and not on a wonk. Don't want wonky trees, do we? And your little strip of DSP, so it's not flush with this layer, I've made it overhang a little bit. So I'm going to cut, I think about there. Like that. And then I'm going to pop just a couple of mini, I can't get them off now, dimensionals just along here. I'm just going to make sure that that will be hidden. Can't pick it up. Yeah. So just along the edge. Pop a couple of mini dimensionals just to stick this layer to. Pull off the backs. You're very right, Jess. It's really easy to forget about ordering, you know, the essential items like glue and foam pads. Okay, so little overhang, just want to hide. Hope I'm still in shot. Don't want to hide too much of the door, but I want to hide. You can stay there. I want to hide the bottom of the house, the line of the stamped image. Oh, that looks a bit wonky. You can come down a bit. I mean, that's the one good thing about these dimensionals. They will come up and down for a minute. Got a little bit hiding under there. Go back in. Okay, I'm not going to faff anymore. Otherwise, Belle will be moaning at me for not embracing the wonk. Okay, so all we need to do now, I've added in a couple from the Curvy dies. This is my favourite. although I do like the edge. I do love this little die, so I'm going to add a couple of those just in white, Whisper White cardstock, which I need to talk to you about after. And I'm just going to cut out a couple of these. I just cut one. I've already cut one already. So there's one there. Just quickly run one through. And yeah, we've got, if you are on my mailing list, I should have received something. But also I posted on my blog and on my Facebook page about the issues with Whisper White, our Whisper White range. Okay, so just want 2 of those. Pop that die back. And these are literally sliding under here like this. So let's pop a bit of Tombow only on the bottom. Alfie's snoring. He always has a good snore when I come over here, doesn't he? So just a bit of Tombow on the bottom. They're kind of floating. Just move you that way a little bit. And because I only popped Tombow, oh, I'm not sure about that. I'm going to make that one a little bit shorter. Still got some glue on there. I seem to be all fingers and thumbs at the moment. That's better. Let's just brush off that bit there. And there we go. All we have to do now is pop our greeting on. Now, as I scarily showed you earlier, I've used an upcoming product from the new mini catalogue. And I use the congratulation ones. This one here. It does need a good chop. That is the thing, when you chop it like I did, the stickers, let me show you from this side, aren't necessarily very well placed on the images because it comes as obviously one big stamp and one sticker sheet. So let us find a block. Just take that tree off a moment. Mount that up. And then I've just used the classic label, which is a bit of a classic punch, actually. Grab my bit of spare. And I'm just going to ink this one up in the Memento. And like I've said, because I need to trim all of these edges off. Does anyone still have those red rubber scissors that we used to be able to buy back in the early days of Stampin' Up, when we had lots of wood mount stamps and we had these little scissors? I've still got mine, but shamefully they're down in my greenhouse. I don't know why they're in my greenhouse, but they're down in my greenhouse. I obviously needed some scissors to cut something down there, and I didn't want to use obviously my good Stampin' Up ones. So I'm going to punch this once close to, let me see if I'm in shot, like this, and then I'm going to lay it back into my punch. I'm going to feed it back in like this and do the other end like that, so that we have a smaller label that will work better for our card. Now, I've raised this on a dimensional again. You may want to just stick it flat like that, and I think for today I am going to just put Tombow on here because it does make it really high for posting. So we'll just pop this one, just overlapping that house. Oop, I moved it then. That's the wiggle room of Tombow. So you have a few seconds to wiggle it before it actually sticks into place. So there we go. That's our completed card. Let's have a think what we could put on the inside. Now, as this set it doesn't have any greetings in here, which I think is good because it leaves it open to whatever you might like to put. Now I am thinking, do I want this to be a new home? What about, I'm so happy to celebrate these moments with you. Now the only thing I do find a little tricky, let's just move that one off of the block, is that because the sticker isn't lined up very well to the stamp behind, that I find it a bit tricky to stamp straight onto a project. So for the sake of today, I'm going to ink one up, stamp it onto here. You might see some lines on here. That's not too bad. And I'm going to look at where this is on my stamp set and then realise that this is the die for it. Now, I've got a pile of stuff here that I wanted to show you. So if I just get the die out, and I'll quickly cut it, and then I'm going to stick it inside my card. So this is the die. So it's called the Messages die. Look at that. I love it. I think it's amazing. I love little tags and labels. So what I'm going to do, let's bring in my plates and then I can show you how I use this. So I'm going to trim this off because I don't want to waste all of this cardstock up here. How are we doing for time? I've been waffling for a long time. And I'm going to lay it over here, and my tummy's rumbling. I need my breakfast. I'm going to tape this down. Where's a bit of tape? There's a little bit, that might hold it. So line it in, and then just tape it like that. Pop my top plate on, which has got very bendy, but it's still fine, a bit of static. And I'm just going to run this through quickly and show you. It's a really difficult one to run through because it's got lots of edges. It's quite a noisy one. Because obviously when you're cutting through your machine, it's going over all of these edges in one go. Now obviously I just want this one. Let's take that away. Just want this one. Be careful to pull it off. And then you could run the whole sheet through if you knew you were going to use the rest of the labels, but I'll be honest, I've got lots of these in a bag already, so I know I don't need them. And then I'm just going to stick that straight on here, like that. So it just adds an extra finishing touch in the middle of your card. And then you know that if you can stick it straight, as straight as you can see to stick it. I quite like that. Something a bit different on the inside. So let's just stick that in. And then we're almost done, and I will talk with you very quickly about what's coming, what's happening. And then I need to go and eat breakfast. Oops. Wobble, wobble. There. And there we go. All done. I hope you've enjoyed my card today. Hope you like that, even though it comes across as a Christmas stamp set, that really there's lots of possibilities with it. So sometimes it's good to think outside of the box. Okay. Right, let's just put the lid on my Memento. And I wanted to share a couple of sneak peeks with you, but first of all, I've put this here to remind you. Now, I have put all the information regarding this on my Facebook page, But Stampin' Up have sadly lost their supplier for the Whisper White products. And what's even more sad about it is that this company is no longer trading because of COVID, which is really sad. So it means that Whisper White, all Whisper White products, so envelopes, note cards, envelopes, general cardstock and thick cardstock are all very low stock, or they may have even, I didn't check this morning, they may even have sold through. They are Stampin' Up! Limiting it to 2 packs, 2 items per order. So you could have 2 packs of Whisper White, 2 packs of envelopes, just to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to order some. Now, we do have a new supplier. I have posted a video on here just to tell you, while I'm waffling, I'll put my card back in here, just to tell you all about the differences between the new basic white. So that's what it's called. It will no longer be referred to as Whisper White, which will be very hard for me as a demonstrator to not say that, but it's called Basic White. And the video, I think, is really clever. It shows us the differences. I can't wait to get my hands on some and start using it. And as soon as I do, I will share my experiences with you as well. So that's something really important to bear in mind. What else do I have down here? What's coming? Oh, next round of Stamp and Chat. I think I'm going to be focusing on this. This is a new gorgeous set that is in the new January to June mini. Absolutely love it. It was one of the first things I got on my pre-order, and I just love it, absolutely love it. Here's a couple of cards that I've made with it already. So I've done this one here, and it's just like a little fun fold like this with a little belly band that goes on it. I'll be able to get that in now. And it has a coordinating set of dies that goes with it, which I should have somewhere. It's a really good set. But what I love is that this image here is all on one stamp. If I turn it over, you can see. And look, it's just £16. Amazing. So you've got this one stamp here, and then you've got 2 dies that cut it out. So when you're batch making cards, this is going to be so handy, so handy. So it's a 2-step stamping set. So you can see you've got layering dies, stamps here. You've also got this lovely like embossed die, which I'll show you on my next card, and you've got this frame as well, which I've been using a lot. You've got individual butterfly dies there as well. So I will be posting information later on. As soon as I've got everything else sorted, I'll be posting information about the next round. Here's the other card that I made. Okay, so I focus my colours on this DSP, which is coming in January as well. So this is that little die cut butterfly that's embossed. So it actually cuts it out and it embosses it as well. Again, I've used the many messages. Just love it. So my colour combination came from the paper pack. What else can I show you? Here's another sneak peek. You may have seen some projects already with this. I think this is going to be really popular. This is a celebration set called Darling Donkeys, and in January, between January and February, because we're having a shorter celebration, this one is free with a £45 order. Here's a little card that I created with it. Isn't he cute? Look at him. And these are from the many messages, those greetings there. This one obviously is in the set here, but the hooray it's your birthday was from the many messages. This frame was from the where's it gone? Floating and Fluttering. I couldn't think what it was called then for a minute. From the butterfly set I just showed you. So isn't he cute? Or she? So great for blends if you've got your blends. If you haven't got any blends yet, you need to order some. They are brilliant. So that's the Darling Donkeys. What else do I need to talk to you about? I'm not going to share too many new products with you because I'm going to do focused lives on that. But I thought I would just share with you what we did at my Crafternoon tea recently that I held, because I will be doing some more. I'm hoping to do some in the spring, obviously COVID depending. But this is what we made a couple of weekends ago now. So we did this lovely box and we used the quite curvy, just bringing these in. So this is the quite curvy set and the dies as well. So this set is also a new one that's coming in the spring. It's not the spring, in the January to June mini. And we've been able to grab it early, so Stampin' Up released. So this is just a little box. Got some envelopes in there. So I've just created this little card box. They're not note cards. And then we did 3 cards with some nice different folds on, using the curvy dies as well. And then this one here. So lots of use of the blends to colour in these florally leafy images. So I just thought I'd share that. I have taken some pictures that I will get up on my blog and on Facebook, but I'm struggling with this new phone. I need to watch some videos on how to use my new phone, my new camera on this phone, because every time I take a picture, it doesn't come out so great. My old phone, it was really easy, but they seem to be coming out a bit grey, even though I'm taking some of them out in daylight. Coming out really grey, so I need to do a bit of research. So there we go, that was what we made. So if you want to order any of the Curvy Celebrations products, remember they are on the early release, but only until the 4th of January. So we still have the Curvy Christmas set that I did use on my Stampin' Chat last round. And obviously the lovely papers as well. So do head over to my website and have a look. If you go to kerrytims.co.uk, then you can be directed to my my online shop. And if you're ordering, placing an order over £30, please use my host code. And remember, you'll be entered into my giveaway to win the Mini Boss cutting machine. So no better excuse to treat yourself before Christmas. So right, I think I best be off. I've talked for way too long today. Thank you to those of you who joined me live this morning, and I will speak with you very soon. So take care everybody, and bye for now.